marching band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Wednesday night is back again, and that means it's time for Auburn Family Night. This is the show where you take center stage here at E2C Network. We're going to take the topics, the calls, the comments, and the questions that you are most interested in talking about in the Auburn experience. Let's get into all those different things right now. War Eagle, everybody, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about, share, discuss, whatever you want to say, the Auburn experience, which for us is about a few things: Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. And to wrap it all into one nice bow for you, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing tonight on this particular live stream. If you're joining us live, you're catching on the replay, however you consuming this content today. Auburn Family Night is your night. It is the night where, as I said, you take center stage. We are going to have a lot of different things that I want to discuss that are on my mind, but really we want to hear from you, what you want to discuss within the Auburn experience, whether that is about sports, culture, or family, the prevalent topics that are out there right now, especially with fall practice, or just something random. As long as you can relate it back to the orange and blue, you certainly can take center stage tonight as part of the Auburn Family live chat comment section if you are if you're watching the replay, or if you want to utilize the call-in link that is now available to anyone that is pinned at the top on the YouTube chat. Should be there on Facebook. You might have to scroll a little bit forward if the comments have gotten long over there or not. You can take center stage via the call-in link tonight, so take advantage of that. Do not be shy. We would love to hear from you in that way as well, but you can certainly join in by chat or just sit back and listen and enjoy the shenanigans that we often get into here at E2C Network, the Auburn experience. So certainly let me get started off by reminding you all to smash the like button. If you haven't done that already, that's a huge help to us while we're live, especially. Lets people know this is something of value. You can also hit that share button, that retweet, share, re-X, whatever it's called, button over there. All those different things. And as so many of you are already doing for us, please let us know that you're here. Check in with us. Tell us where you're watching from. That's a great thing to do. We like to see where everybody's represented from. As you see, we've got Minnesota all the way down to, of course, the state of Alabama represented tonight, and everywhere in between. We want to know where you're watching from. Let me get us started this evening with some topics that I know that are going to be right up at the top, right at the front of your mind. Just a little bit of practice starts today. Auburn football is officially underway in terms of preparations for the 2025 season. Now, certainly, sometimes we make mountains out of molehills when it comes to this, but it is an important mile marker in that slow process getting back to college football being here officially. And we've all got someone here making us jealous. War Eagle from the real thing from Auburn, Alabama. But yes, that is going on right now. You have seen the press conference today. You have seen player interviews today and probably some footage from the beat writers and such that were able to be there. We have got the press conference. We have got some of the player interviews available to you on YouTube, on Facebook. We hope that you'll check those out and drop a comment on those. Let us know what you thought about what they said today. And certainly we'd love to hear your perspectives even on that tonight as well. We can certainly dive into aspects of the press conference. That's the main substantive stuff we got today on the first day of fall practice. I keep wanting to switch and say spring for some reason. We can certainly dive into that if that is something of interest to you all. I took notes on X, and if you're ever following us on X, you can follow those threads for those press conferences and you'll find some valuable information that we're just gleaning from that. Sometimes we get direct quotes from it, but usually it's just a summary of what we're hearing. You all are hearing as well, what we're taking away from when we hear from whether it's Coach Hugh Freeze or somebody else. We've got a month, literally just under a month, basically a month if you count. There's 31 days in July till the first game, and no more appropriate time to get started with fall practice than right now. I can already see some of the comments coming up to about this big topic. So I think we should go ahead and discuss that this evening to go ahead and get that initial thing out of the way. Malcolm Simmons has certainly been a big talking point. Malcolm Simmons has certainly been a big talking point in the off season of the last few recent weeks. And I believe it even broke when we were live here a couple of weeks ago of him being involved in a domestic violence case. Since that time, as is always the case, people continue to speak on it way too early before facts and things get figured out. We sit here today, an update being that he is practicing with the team. They said it was going to happen, that being Coach Hugh Freeze, but also we have video and photo evidence of him being part of the practice. So it is official. Malcolm Simmons has been cleared to play. Now, several different media groups and individuals have done their research and reporting about how this came to be. The only statement that really matters, and I know it's not satisfying to a lot of people in this way, but I want to make sure that we read it verbatim here to tell you what was said by Coach Hugh Freeze today. And that is a statement based on the information that I've been given from our campus administration. That's a key word right there. He and administration who have knowledge of the matter, he's been cleared to participate in team activities. This is coming from higher up. This isn't a Coach Hugh Freeze ultimate decision. Now, certainly he can make a decision to kick him off the team if he wants to. I would imagine you probably have to have some just cause for that to be able to do that, but he is getting his directive from higher up. That's not to shuck blame from Hugh Freeze in any way. That is simply just letting you know where this decision is coming down from. So Malcolm Simmons will continue to practice and be in team activities. There's a few hearings coming up, it sounds like, in a few weeks. We'll worry about that if anything comes of that. Once again, folks, when something happens, you don't have to overreact. You don't have to offer your opinion just because you want to be one of the first ones to have a hot take about something. Sometimes it's best just to take in the information, wait and see what happens, and then go from there. I know it's not the fun thing to do. It's not the, spicy thing to do. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it is something that's probably the smarter thing to do, especially in regards with serious situations like this. Certainly we want everything to work out the way it's supposed to in terms of if there is any wrongdoing by Malcolm, for him to face those consequences, and if there is not, for him to be exonerated. And the same thing for the alleged victim. We want her to be able to find the justice that she feels that she is, whether she feels it's owed and that she is owed, just outside of how she feels. I think it's important for us all just to take a step back and let it be. So let's go ahead and we got that out of the way. A lot of people were already asking about it. Corey even here was talking about it a little bit. Simmons has been cleared by the administration of practice. Keep in mind, he still has to go to court. That will be the ultimate determination of his path, clarifying kind of what we were saying there already. WT says only fair that he be allowed to practice, innocent until proven guilty otherwise. Certainly. And once he has that day in court, we'll find out anything else. I think it should say, I'm highly speculating here. I think it should prove that if the administration of Auburn has decided he's fine to go practice, that there's some things that we're not privy to that are going to come out into light, good or bad, about how serious this was for Malcolm Simmons or not. Let's see here. Corey says, I like how Freeze doesn't allow the media to stir up a hornet's nest. What I said is what I said, nothing more, less type attitude. Yeah, I think Hugh has a nice balance. He admittedly himself has said this, that oftentimes he says too much. He tries to be a very honest, almost to a fault guy in terms of maybe saying too much at times. But he also has, the ability to kind of know when not to say too much. And I think this is one of those times. I mean, their decisions have been made above him, and we just go from there. WT says, Auburn fans love to overreact. I can't wait to blame Thorne for everything bad that happens. No, there will be a new scapegoat. It's right. You can kind of feel it prepping right now that the new scapegoat will be Jackson Arnold, because everybody's convinced themselves because of stars and rankings that Deuce Knight is the best thing since sliced bread, and he might be at some point, but he's just a freshman right now. So let's give the kid a minute to get his feet wet. But certainly they'll find the new Peyton Thorne scapegoat, as it was somebody before that, even going back to Bo Nix and beyond that as well. I always got to have someone to blame. It can't be just something else going on. Let's see here. Anything else that you guys have already said? Unbeaten Lake says, I started thinking about the 2016 season, and now I'm upset. All 5 losses, we scored an average of 13 points, and the defense played great in all of those losses. Why would you even do that to yourself, Unbeaten Lake? That feels like unnecessary torture to go back to some of these not good seasons and just relive them. Wow, are you just that bored and ready for football that you got to have something? You just want to feel something, even pain? Don't do that to yourself. I can't remember much from that 2006 season, and there's probably a reason for that. I blocked a lot of it from my mind. Let's see here. This is from Sam. Is the call-in link broken? Is it? No, it should be working. Oh, hold on, folks. We have got an issue here. I just noticed. For some reason, it doubled up on the call-in link. So I'm going to put it in the chat now. And I may have to, probably when one of you calls in, hint, hint, wink, wink, I will utilize that time to listen to you, but also to go over and fix it on the pinned comment at the YouTube. It double added it in. So I put it in the chat again. We'll go fix that on the pinned part of the YouTube. Thank you for the heads up on that. I'm not sure why that happened, but it did. Thank you for the heads up, Brian. This is from Sam. Sam says, Herd Freeze is delaying a surgery for his prostate cancer till January. Got to respect it. The dedication is crazy. And listen, yes, that is a great amount of dedication, but also he's talking with his doctors, and his wife, I would imagine, would not allow him to do something that was going to jeopardize him in any way. So certainly you got to respect the drive to continue going out there and doing what you got to do at this level of the SEC, but you've also got to recognize that he's got a lot of people that are helping him make smart decisions about when and how to do that. Okay, we'll get our next caller here in just a second. Let me see if we've got anything else in here. WT says, it is a tough decision, a 5-star quarterback with no college experience versus a 5-star quarterback with a year of SEC experience. Are you doing the Deuce Knight and comparison with Jackson Arnold? Well, stars don't mean anything in my mind, as you know, but also he doesn't have any year of experience. He has a spring of experience compared to a clear SEC experience with Jackson Arnold. Now, it was a rough experience for him, and I'm not going to shy away from that, but certainly he does have that experience, as you were alluding to. We're due for a magical season, Corey says. I want to see opponents crying in their Cheerios the next morning. Why Cheerios? Why are we picking on Cheerios tonight? Is it true that an NFL scout complimented our offensive line? I didn't think it was possible. So according to Hugh Freeze, yes, that was from his press conference today, that they had apparently an NFL grade handed down for at least some, if not all, of the offensive line. And his claim is that the 5 guys that are anticipated to be the starters all graded out as draftable. I think that was the official phrase that he used. So you do with that what you want. The validity of that, I don't see a reason why you would just make that up if you're Coach Hugh Freeze and talk about that in open public. Seems like we can probably pin that down. I'm just going to continue to wave the caution flag until we see it actually happen. I'm not trying to be down on the group or any one guy there. I just think it's time we got to kind of step back for a little bit and wonder, is this actually the year the offensive line is going to get together? All right, let's get our first caller in this evening. calling us from the Great White North, where it is, I'm sure, much milder than down here with the thunderstorms. What's going on, Brian?
You're funny. We've had heat indexes over 100 the last couple days.
Oh, up there in Minnesota.
Serious humidity. Although it broke, and now we've got Canada's on fire, so it's just smoke everywhere.
So you're like getting compounded with heat coming up and then smoke coming down.
The heat finally broke, and now we've got smoke. And
Gotcha. Tough time up there for you. Sorry about that.
It's awful, man. It's awful. What are you gonna do? All right. We made it to football season.
We did.
That's a good thing.
We did.
It's a good thing. All right. So you had an excellent point on Facebook today where you said something along the lines of exercise caution in your comments.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean we have to agree with everything, though?
Oh no, absolutely no. I think it's important to be very wise in what your disagreement is or your agreement, because I'll be honest with you, I actually had to remove a comment today that was in support of Malcolm, but it was so
over the top.
It was over the top and it was unnecessary. It wasn't productive to anything, and it was more just to stir the pot on something. So you see it on both sides of an equation where if you fall on one side or the other, and I don't know how you can fall on one side of this issue right now without knowing all the facts, first of all. But
we don't know. And I guess that's what I would say. Start with this. We don't know all the facts, right? Mm-hmm. But we know some of the facts.
Sure.
So we know he was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
We know the charges haven't been dismissed, and we know he has a court date a week from Friday.
Yes.
That's what I know. And I do come at this from the perspective of I have 3 daughters, mm-hmm. And not that matters much, but I guess it just gives me the perspective of like I have girls, right?
No, that matters.
It feels more, we talk a lot about like be the creed and
mm-hmm.
creed matters and live the creed. And so the Auburn administration might have cleared them. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean anything, but they're not a court of law.
Right.
They're not the judge in this, and they have a vested interest in this as well. I just feel like it would have been much more in line with what I love about Auburn to say, hey, after court, you can practice. I just would have liked that. It's not like court's 3 months from now. It's mm-hmm. 8 days from now. So that's just and I hope I'm being respectful with that comment. That's just where I come down. And I feel like that would have been a better approach. I feel like that's one of the things I love about Auburn is that our players don't typically find themselves in these situations. And when we do, I feel like we handle it well. And hopefully we have handled it well. Hopefully they know something that we don't know.
Yeah.
That when it comes out, they're going to say, that's why we cleared them to practice. I just still don't love the look. And my point about being a girl dad is like, you tell your girls to speak up if something's wrong. And,
mm-hmm.
That they don't have to take that from men and those kinds of things. So like, that's where I guess that matters to me. And I'm sure that at the moment, this young woman feels like there's not much consequences for the alleged crime that took place. And it is alleged. That's so
and I think we have to see the other side of it too, that we have had instances where people have taken advantage of that, and there have been men that have suffered from that as well. So I think
100%.
that's why we have to all operate with so much caution in this situation. But so to your point about what you would have preferred, I honestly thought that's what might happen. In terms of how this would have been handled. We would have seen him not practice until the court date. Now that's probably
it's next Friday, the 8th.
That's right.
That's what I read today. Yeah.
I was trying to get the math in my head. You know how it goes with me doing math on these shows live. So that's a week of practice. It's not end all be all of losing practice, but it does certainly put you quote unquote behind in a sense. I would say that, to me, I lean on the side that Auburn knows the backlash that, when I say Auburn, the administration, knows the backlash that will come if they cleared him to practice and don't have the information to do that. So that tells me there's something that's going to either not come out. I don't know if I hope it.
No, I know what you're saying. And obviously, I've thought that part through. Like, well, would they do this and take all the heat they're going to take if 8 days from now there's a bigger problem? I mean, that's and they're not going to have a verdict in 8 days, but
absolutely.
I just
well, you got WT who agrees with your stance here as well.
Yeah. And I get like you're innocent until proven guilty, and I understand that's a court of law. I just not naively, I love to believe that at Auburn, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. That's all. But
yeah. And maybe that's the problem with not being in the know. We all
and not knowing the facts, right?
Right, right. We all think whether we say it or not, we all feel like we're a little bit entitled to it. I know I do too, because that's just kind of, I'm in this business of knowing things. So we're just kind of like, when we don't know these things, I'm like,
I want to cheat to the end of the test, right, and give me the answers. But,
right.
But I guess in this case, not knowing all the facts is where I want to say, yeah, I'm okay waiting 8 days. And if that means other players get reps and practice, maybe that helps us in the long run, because, but whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to say that and wanted to be
I think it's fine.
Respectful about it, obviously. But
it's funny. It's funny you talked about being respectful about it. And that's why I put those comments sometimes under issues like this under posts where people act very brave in the comment sections and will say things that they would never say when you and I are looking at each other, or even if you weren't on the camera, just over the phone, where your voice is being heard.
I got a new computer. I had to check it out, and I'm hoping it doesn't do an Austin dump into my lap.
Austin's not even here to defend himself, and we're good.
It's one of my favorite E2C moments. But anyway,
man, that's what, like, I don't know.
2 years?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Yeah, something like that. That was hilarious.
I got to figure out when that was.
All of a sudden,
it was post show too, so it's not like it's in the episode for me to go find. So I'd have to go back to the live stream and find it.
Yeah, it was after I think Auburn Experience recording. But anyway, it was hilarious. But anyway, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, so no, you're completely right. When you can look at someone, you sit down face to face, talk to them in person or like this, people's tone changes really fast.
Oh yeah,
and it's if you wouldn't say it doing this, then don't say it at all, is kind of my theory. And I don't have to agree with you, or not you. I mean, but I don't care if I disagree with someone as long as it's done respectfully. So I
usually assume that when people use the word you these days, it's a general you. It's not
general you. Okay,
a general you, not necessarily at me. And I always have to clarify that too. I'm like,
and especially when it's you, and especially when it's somebody who, like for you, who I agree with 95+% of the time, and. So it's like, why don't I agree? And I'm not saying you disagree with me, but it's like, why this time? That makes you, it should make you stop and think, like, here's someone I agree with most of the time. Mm-hmm. Why don't I right now?
I don't know who I do or don't agree with on this issue at this point, just because, and I will say this, and, taking this as a general subject and not necessarily about this one thing we're talking about, I found myself more so of towing the line as long as possible before I render myself an opinion to have it. I know that gets annoying to some people because content creators are supposed to just give you your opinions and then and then go from there. But I know that makes me a little bit different. I just find it very ill-advised sometimes until you are. Well, hey, let me give you an example.
And I have no opinion on his innocence, his guilt, any of that. It's just, I'm just looking at a timetable going, I don't think 8 days would have mattered.
Let me give you an example on the whole be sure. And even when you're sure, but even when you're sure, you still can get lambasted in the public opinion. When we broke the story that Bo Nix was going to come back the last year for Brian Harsin. Well, what would be the last year of Brian Harsin? I don't know if you remember all that.
I sure do.
That story was 100% true. I have it from sources that don't lie, and they have since given me good information. And so the story changed, or the decision changed. Yeah. And of course, some people took advantage of that and ran with it and made it like we just tried for clout chasing and things like that. And so that's. To relate that back to the thing of me being 100% sure that I'm 100% sure, I'm very cautious with.
But you were right until you weren't.
Right.
And you were always right though, because the player changed, or maybe the coach changed.
I was only reporting what was true at that time.
The situation changed, right? And that doesn't make you wrong, but that's not fun. I mean, you can't admit someone's right on social media, but I had a very interesting social media experience once. I'll tell you about some other time, but I was right and got absolutely lambasted and doxxed. It was with it's a long story, but I don't want to relive it. I mean, I'm happy to relive it. I don't want to relive it and have it turn into a thing again.
I got you.
So yeah. But no, anyway, I'm excited for football. I think. So, what do you have? I know we'll do this later, but do you have an expectation a month away from week one or game one? What our win total should be or anything like that.
Not quite. August
Yep.
15th is when I'm going to give those out. But I will say
Okay.
Hugh needs to win more than he did last year. I think that's
Yeah.
understood.
He needs to do more than make a bowl game. I still don't love that quote.
And he still has clarified that's not what he meant. But certainly,
I know.
I think winning decently more than you did last is going to really help yourself out. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I'm not predicting this, but I think it needs to be at least 8. But I don't even want to go down that road.
Well, give me just spitball here. Where do those 4 losses come in? Maybe that's easier to do than your wins.
Well, and I'm not saying we would lose these teams, but we could easily lose to Georgia. We could lose to Bama. I think we could lose to Baylor in week 1. Mm-hmm. We always struggle for some reason with A&M. So, I mean, those are the 4 that jump off the top to me.
Well, for the longest time at Texas A&M, it was always the
away
team.
The away team won, yeah.
Yeah, right. And so maybe we go back to that. I don't know.
Yeah, because we're at A&M this year, right?
Yep. So we got to think about this. So here's another thing. There's this notion out there that Auburn has an easy schedule this year.
No, we don't.
And I'm just like, where do you even begin to formulate that as an opinion that has any context or basis for factual discussion? Like,
do you think it comes from because we're hosting Georgia and Bama this year? Which is easier than going there, but it doesn't make it easy.
Amen. And that's my exact point. I was like, that's the only point that you have. I said, you're going to have to explain to me how starting the SEC at Texas A&M at Oklahoma week off and then Georgia is going to be easy.
Nothing about that's easy. Nothing about that.
And certainly
could lose to Oklahoma, obviously.
Right.
I mean,
right. In the middle of that, there's still SEC competition. I know they're not Florida, they're not LSU or whatever right now, but you still got Alabama at the end of it. So you can say there's an easier stretch in the middle, but that's everybody's schedule.
LSU is not on our schedule this year, right?
Nope. They are no longer an annual game. And so they are.
Doesn't that just kind of bum you out?
It did, but the fact that we get to see more SEC teams more often because of it, I have made peace with it. And it's both sides, right? Like, I love the tradition. I love the weirdness of the Auburn and LSU, the Tiger Bowl every year.
So much fun. Yeah.
I would love to have it back if it were possible to do so. But to me, it is more valuable to get to Florida and Tennessee more often.
So do you feel that same way when I substitute Georgia for LSU?
And that's the big one right there.
I know, right? Yeah.
So that right there is the sticking point, because I don't know that we need to live in a world where Auburn and Georgia, the Deep South's oldest rivalry, do not play every year.
One little trivia question, then I'll let other people have their turn.
Sure.
What's the only rivalry in major D1 college football, or whatever we call it now, that's older than Auburn, Georgia?
That's Wisconsin, Minnesota, isn't it?
Correct, it is. Yes.
I knew we were going that route. There's a little bit of a deduction here, but I believe I had heard that before too.
Yeah, and it almost, I mean, they canceled for quite a while, and then last minute rescheduled during COVID.
Well, I'm glad that they kept it going.
I am too, but there's a little part of me that's like, oh, Auburn and Georgia could take this over. That'd be pretty cool.
That's fair. Because I've talked about this before.
You're from Wisconsin,
well, I'm not from. I got family there.
Yeah.
And then, but I've always had this dream that'll never be realized of going to the Minnesota-Wisconsin game in the snow in Camp Randall Stadium, because I can't, because it's the same day as the Iron Bowl, and I'm always going to be there.
Right.
So
they have a couple. Actually, last year they played that game on Friday.
Don't tell me with a good time.
When they do it next time, we'll have to talk. But yeah,
I love it.
All right, man. War Eagle, thanks for letting me have my opinion. And
of course,
I mean, I just hope justice is done. And I mean, obviously, I'm hoping that he's innocent, because that would be best for everyone involved. So
absolutely,
for everyone involved, for her, for him, for football. So
of course.
All right, man. See you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for calling in. All right, that was Brian. He's one of our regulars here in the chat. We always enjoy hearing from him in the chat, and when he gets the opportunity to call in. And what a nice camera on that computer tonight. So looking up to a good start with that camera, with that computer. You guys can take advantage of the call-in link as well, just like he did. My apologies to those who were trying to access it earlier. As Brian pointed out, it seemed that it was a little Either, I don't know if I double clicked it when I saved it for you guys, or just things went awry, but it is now available at the top of the chat. So tonight's a good night, folks. We're about to get busy here. And so Wednesday nights are going to get a little bit busier in terms of, comments and things like that. So go ahead and try to get used to utilizing that call-in link. If you've never done so, it'll really maximize your experience and our experience. We want to hear from some of y'all that we don't typically get to hear from on Wednesday night Auburn Family Nights. With that in mind, certainly let's go back to the chat here and look at what else we've got going on. There was a lot being discussed throughout of this. I'll talk about this, Corey. What's up with Kerryon Johnson throwing shade on the running back room? I thought when I read this come by and initially in the side chat, I read it as that throwing shade at Auburn. I think some people thought he was doing that as well. And you may be actually 100% correct on that he was kind of being a little bit shady towards Auburn in that. But I read some of the things that he was interacting with. He kind of went on this Ask Me Anything on social media. He's coaching at I think a school in Alabama right now, running backs, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, he got a lot of Detroit Lions questions. He got a lot of Auburn questions, and he said something to the effect of that: "Did you enjoy your time at Auburn, or do you like being associated with Auburn, or something like that?" And he was kind of like, "Yeah." And I think I know which angle he's coming from on that, and I probably would disagree with him a little bit on some of those angles, but having followed some of his stuff before. But listen, people are going to offer their opinions. Let them have what they want. That's their choice. Do what it is. Just rolls off my back like water on a duck, right? It don't really bother me all that much. Sam with an interesting question. He directed it at Brian when he was here, but I don't know about this. He says, if we beat Bama in Georgia, do you get away with only 6 wins? Because that means, okay, let's play this scenario out with Sam since he's offered it. 6 wins means Bama and Georgia are one of them. I'm going to assume that you beat South Alabama, you beat Ball State, and you beat somebody help me. Who's our other one? Other rinky dink. At the end of the year. I'm blanking on them right now. It's not La Mo, is it? I feel like it's always La Mo, but whoever it is, you get those 3 plus those 2. That means only one more win out of all of that. And that means you could have lost to Baylor. You could have lost to Missouri. You could have lost to Vanderbilt. You could have lost to Kentucky. You could stomach losing to Texas A&M, or you could stomach losing to Oklahoma. I don't know that those other ones work. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, Brian says yes. Mercer. Thank you, Devin. I knew somebody would help me out. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a great question, Sam. I don't know that that's something that we can all stomach, even with those 2 wins. Corey says, Devin, you need an AU shirt to wear at the game that says, I got a spoon, keep messing up. Oh, man. Greg said, trade one of the Mississippi schools for LSU. The problem with this, Greg, is that we don't play the Mississippi schools anymore. Well, every year at least. Good to see you over here, my friend. We're starting to get a lot of our TikTok folks that y'all have found your space over there coming over here more regularly, and I love seeing you here, man. Appreciate it. Okay, this is from Hunter. The Damari Alston interview today was great. He's becoming one of my favorite players on the roster. One of the things that I think is premature of Auburn fandom is how often we dismiss somebody either intentionally or unintentionally because we're so focused about who we believe and have been sold that is the guy that we should be valuing more than the other. And that happens a lot in the case of Jeremiah Cobb over Damari Alston. You see it with the whole Deuce Knight, Jackson Arnold thing too. And just insert 2 people into that equation and use it as an example. I'm not going to sit here and say that Damari is going to have an 1,000-yard year. It wouldn't shock me if neither of them, as maybe a 1A and 1B situation as I might see them, it wouldn't shock me at all if neither of them got 1,000. But I would still think that they both would have solid years. I think Damari is a lot better than people give him credit for. I think because he has been behind Tank and Jarquez. I think he was not here when Tank was here, but he's been behind Jarquez for so long. It's so easy for us to, to write him off in a sense. And so I think certainly he's a great leader. I think certainly he's a lot more talented than people give him credit for. I would be excited to see what he could do this year. Let's see here. I don't like, so Sam, here's the difference. I get a little bit more loose and free here with my quote unquote rules on streams here because it's a little bit more tame here. We don't obviously have the crowd that comes in so fast and so hot. That's more Q&A style over there in very rapid fashion. So I'll get a little bit more hypothetical here or speculative as I talk about it. But I am holding my big predictions. Like they're going to be big. It's not going to be like I'm making some bold prediction, but my predictions for the season until August 15th. Losing the big games, the easiest games, while winning the hardest games would drive me insane. I kind of agree with that one. That would drive me insane too. War Eagle Lynn, thanks for being here. Let's see here. Thank you for clarifying. Carry On is the East Tennessee. I knew that in the back of my mind. I just couldn't pull that out. Did you see that our running back room is semi-beat up, hoping it improves before week 1? Hunter, could you clarify what you mean by that? If you're talking about Darrell Robinson, he's been nursing something for a while. Now, and Jeremiah just announced today, too, has a fractured thumb, I think is what it was. It was a finger. But we are, if that's the two that you're talking about, one of those has been working his way back the entire time. And a hand for a running back out. Hopefully, if it's his dominant hand, I guess that could be a bigger issue, but you've got to switch either way. Hopefully it's something that can be, worked out before it gets too far into the preseason. I think it'll be just fine though. Been seeing the videos from the Auburn football account. The energy around the team just feels different, a lot more enthusiastic and ready to just have fun. See, I don't want to necessarily disagree with you, Devin, but I feel like we say that every year, or maybe you don't, but I feel like that gets kind of thought about and said every year. It's kind of the point of the Auburn social media is to make us feel good about everything, right? And I love what they do. They do a great job. I know some of them personally on various sports programs accounts. And I just wonder, so could you maybe pinpoint, other than like the energy around the team, because that's a very big nebulous thing. Could you pinpoint something that just is different that's from the other team? Because I can think of big energy from like Eugene, Asante, Austin Keys, and things like that. You weren't thinking that last year. Oh, well, see, that's just different times for different people. Looks like they're having fun. Could be a dark horse for the playoffs. I knew somebody was going to get it in first, and Dalton, you are the winner of that tonight. Well played, sir. Well played. Sorry, Sam, I missed this earlier. I am possibly going to come to the surplus sale. I haven't made up my mind yet. If I come to the surplus sale, it won't necessarily be for the purchase of anything. I will be coming to capture content of it. So I'll be pretty busy if I'm there. I'm toying with the idea of a day trip to Auburn. Haven't necessarily thought all the way through that yet. It's possible, but haven't made my mind yet. I hope y'all saw all of but let's talk about it real quick. I want to bring that up actually. The prices for some of these items that you can buy. So if you don't know what the surplus sale is, this is basically them getting rid of their Under Armour gear that they have extra stuff of. So this means that there is a chance for you to have actual legitimate Auburn University gear, Auburn athletics gear to yourself that you can one day get signed and things like that. Now it's going to be Under Armour, right? I would imagine the majority of it's Under Armour, but it's going to be decently priced. And there are actually things there I think that people are be really excited about, like uniform tops For football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and softball, only $35. Uniform tops for other sports are going to be $25. Footwear, $25. Jackets, $20. Polo shirts, $15. Dress and travel pants, $15. Bags, $15. T-shirts, $10. Shorts, $10. Headwear, $10. Uniform pants, $5. Accessories, socks, wristbands, etc., $125. And then watches, go figure, $35. Those aren't bad prices, y'all. $35 for a uniform top. That's quite interesting. So I'm very interested in seeing about no helmets. It said no helmets. It says headwear. That would be, but that's going to be hats. I do not see helmets. I would imagine they would keep that. I would imagine they'd keep that in the thing there. Auburn's media group is one of the best in the country, I think. I would imagine you don't spend a lot of time on many others, though, so you might be just a little bit biased. All right, Greg's got us something. Lukewarm take. I do not like starting the season on the road at all. Game 1 should be a home game. I would agree with you if it was a non-power conference game. And you got to keep in mind, this thing was scheduled a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away when Baylor was more at their height, and so was Auburn too. And so this would have been a bigger matchup back then too. And that's the difficulty with scheduling these things so far in advance. Anything can change. Yes, even for you, Bama fans, you will one day go back into the doldrums again. It always happens. Everything's cyclical. But I would say I'm fine with it being on the road as long as it's a home and home situation. I would not be okay with it if it was just, well, we needed somebody and we had to go to them to make it happen. As long as we get something in return out of it, I'm fine with it. Because I like Auburn people getting to go to different places and show what we're all about. Because there are great stories of like Penn State fans hosting Auburn people and be like, wow, we didn't realize this was as serious down there for y'all. Devin gave us some more clarification on what she was talking about. A lot more players having that enthusiasm, not just the one or two players are staying out. I'm seeing it from all of them. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Yeah, I think it's just going to be different for everybody else. I've just found myself being a little bit more skeptical these days. And I think it comes from maybe I'm getting cynical because I work in this space so much and I see so much of the content and I can kind of tell when a narrative's being laid or I tend to look past the sale a little bit. So maybe it's just me being cynical. I don't know. That's just the problem with that. All right, we'll get our next caller here in just a second. Let's roll through some more of these comments. Yes, Brian, we did say watches for $35. I said that. If Keldrick Falk lines up on one side and Jared Smith lines up on the other, I'd be concerned as an opposing quarterback. Sounds like a pretty challenging thing to go up against. Let's see here. The roster seems to have the most talented depth we've had in a long time. Really seems to be building something special. We might see that. With that being said, I do believe our best window is within the next 2 years. Okay, let's get our next guy in here. I think he's ready to take us to school. You know what that means. What's up, Mr. Thomas? What's going on, sir?
How y'all doing this evening, War Eagle?
I knew I was going to hear from you tonight. I've been looking forward to this.
Well, it's a very special day, Kyle. Very special day.
What could be happening today?
Just imagine. It's hot as all get out.
Yep.
You're wearing an extra 10 pounds of padding and gear.
Yep. I can smell it.
You've boiled your mouthpiece. You got your teeth fit in it just right. You're sweating like a dog, and you're out here, and fall camp has officially started for our Auburn Tigers.
I know. Aren't you just jammed up, jelly tight, ready to go right now? I'm telling you.
Buddy, I'm so fired up.
When can I ask you a question? When do we stop calling this fall camp and just call this summer camp? I mean, really? I mean, it's hot enough to. This ain't fall.
No. Look, fall is the best week of the year in Alabama because it only lasts that long.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, I guess it's just tradition at this point. You've got spring practice, and then you've got summer conditioning, and then you get fall camp, and then you start the season. I guess we just kind of base it off of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just feels a little bit weird when I'm pushing 95 degrees and we're calling this fall camp. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The important thing is football's back, and that's what we're really excited about here.
That's funny. Dalton said professor. Buddy, I didn't go to college. I showed up for a couple of weeks. That was the extent.
Who says you had to go to college to be a professor? I know technically, folks, you have to be, but just shut up. Run with me here. He might have so much knowledge in his head that he gets what's called what's the title? Not emeritus, but an honorary graduate degree or something like that. I think that's what we're gonna say you have. Just don't ask questions. You've got an honorary graduate degree from Auburn in taking us to school in football. So let's talk about it. What you thinking about?
Man, I'm just so excited that it's about to happen. So we're finally going to get through the 1s and 2s, the 3s. We're going to get everybody shuffled right where they need to be. They're finalizing their packages, their formation, like everything's coming together now, finally. And then in a couple of weeks, we get to play football. And we get to really see, like, we can sit here all the offseason like we do every year and speculate about all of this stuff. But we're not going to know until that Friday night out in Texas when we take on Baylor. So that's where I'm so excited, but the anticipation is killing me. I want to see Auburn on the field so we know what we're working with in week 1. Now, it can change over the rest of the season, but when they finally line up, that first quarter is really going to tell us what we're working with, and then how they respond, or how they either they go out there and they do well and potentially dominate at Baylor, or they struggle to get all these new pieces, the offensive line, new quarterback, new running back, couple new receivers, transfers. We got a lot of new pieces that we don't know how they're going to fit. Now, on paper, it looks great, but we don't know until they get on the field and they start executing. And that's what I'm the most excited about, is I need to know what this team looks like. And you can give me all the highlights out of practice you want to, but they're sitting there, they're hanging out, they're listening to music, they're doing their thing. Dadgummit, I want to see cleats on grass against somebody else, and I'm so excited about it.
Well, I'm always going to ask you about the offensive lineman, and we got an interesting comment from Hugh Freeze today. Somebody's, I think, already brought it up in the chat once about there was an NFL grade brought or handed down to them, I guess, about his words, who would likely be the starting offensive line. He didn't name names, but I think we all look at the group and probably can pick out who those might be. Some of those who have been around for a while, some of the exciting transfers that are in. And the phrase that I believe was used all came back as highly draftable. So what do you do with that information? Because to me, I guess I saw a lot of people get excited about that. And I guess I always assume that a lot of our guys are highly draftable. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll get drafted higher or get drafted at all. But does that do anything for you as someone who really analyzes and really looks at offensive line at all?
It makes me excited for this season, but it makes me worry about next year, because he didn't say depth or draftability of depth pieces.
Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be the best offensive line that Hugh Freeze has had up to this point that he's been at Auburn.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take a whole lot away from last year's, because we brought in some good transfers, but some of them had to play in positions they were not accustomed to.
Because others weren't working out when
Correct.
we discussed
Correct.
that before.
Yes, correct. So I think left tackle and left guard and center are going to be our strongest positions this year.
Okay.
I don't have serious questions about the right side of the line. I've got depth questions about the right side of the line. Is this guy going to pan out for 3 weeks and then he has a really bad game? We put somebody else in. He has 2 good games. Then he has a bad game. Then we bring somebody else back in. I'd like to see a starting 5 that's solid, that stays that way through the entire season, barring injury. I don't want to see guys having, well, you're not starting anymore. Now you're starting because you can't cut it, and now you can't cut it. And the same roller coaster that we've been on for the last couple of years.
Right.
That's the last thing I want to see. I want to see unity on the offensive line. I want to see a solid 5 guys that we know are going to be out there every week. And then later in the game, if we're up, I want to see the second string, and I want to see some third stringers get meaningful snaps so they're ready when these 5 are gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one of the things you got to think about, that certainly we can all get excited and, see it come to fruition that this is the best offensive line that Auburn has had in quite some time. And I'm truly hoping that is going to be the case. But then what happens after that, right? So I don't want us to get too busy in thinking about, it may be bad after this, but certainly that is something to think about. What, we got to have the depth even this year, unless the depth, maybe the depth they were talking about was everybody behind them. But if they're all leaving after this year, or, a year after that, you may wonder what's going to happen at that point. So in your mind, is there a metric, a measurement way for you this year that you're looking for this offensive line to prove to you that they have finally turned the corner? Like, is there anything popping off in your mind right now?
Less than 15 to 17 sacks
On the
for the entire year.
Okay.
I would like to see the quarterback have an average of 4 seconds in the pocket clean. I mean, completely clean. Drop back 1, 2, 3. Have time to go through his progressions. And I'll answer Hunter's question. Next year, I need DeAndre Carter and Dylan Cinda is who I want to see up next.
Okay.
I think they're quality guys. And I want to see them get quality reps this year, even if it's in garbage time. It's still college football as opposed to high school ball. Mm-hmm. But and DeAndre Carter did have some reps last year, but I don't remember Dylan Cinda having a whole lot last year, if any. But we need to be in a situation where we can get the younger guys in. Look at our defense last year. We had so many freshmen play on defense last year. Therefore, they're more equipped. They're ready or more ready for this season. And that goes for all positions. And we've spent a significant amount of time in a deficit for the offensive line. We can go rewatch any game. There's been a deficit. And that's not a knock on any individual. It's just the reality of the situation.
Yep. So
I need the young cats to get in there and play meaningful reps without an injury being involved.
Right. Well, I think that's the unit that we're all going to be watching. Well, I hope everybody is going to be watching intently, because to me, that has been Auburn's biggest Achilles heel in terms of consistency of play over the last several years. And I do hope that I finally get to shut up and say, hey, this is the year that the best unit that we had is the offensive line. Anything else from first day of practice, or anything you're thinking about while you've got the floor?
I'm just so excited for football, man, and all the food that comes with football season. Because I work Friday, I'll be off in time to watch the Auburn game, and then I'm off on Saturday, and I'll get to make all this barbecue and watch all these games, and I'm so excited for the game of football to be coming back. But outside of that, I'm more excited for the Auburn Tigers to have a great season, and I think we have a great chance. Hugh Freeze said he loves this roster. He loves this team. He said when we hired him, it's going to be at least 2025 before we can get guys in here that are going to make a difference and enable us to win. And you can talk about hot seat all you want to, but I'm not going to hot seat him on the last 2 years because he had such a depleted roster. It's mind-blowing how bad we were at depth and depth at multiple positions. But I believe this year is going to be the measuring stick. The other 2 years are in the past. I'm focused fully on this year. This is my measuring stick for Hugh Freeze as a head coach. And, I can be a homer all I want to, but if I break it down in my nerd brain, this could be an 8 or 9 win season, but to really imprint this one on my memory, there has to be a bowl win.
Oh, yeah.
because we haven't won a bowl game
Yeah.
in so long.
Thanks for reminding me, by the way. I forgot about that fact, that sad little fact.
I mean, I remember when what was it, 2002? We drilled Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were playing in Outback Bowls, which is not the pinnacle of bowl games by any stretch, but it best case scenario. Let's say absolute best case scenario this season, we make the college football playoff. I'm not saying we win, but best case scenario, we make the college football playoff. Look, if we end up with 10 wins, 9 to 10 wins, and a win over Georgia or Alabama, that's a strong resume.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got the pieces now that we can push for that.
Yeah. If Auburn makes the playoff, which is not out of the realm of possibilities. I always think of things in a bell curve of possibilities if you understand that concept. But I'm going to tell you what, I think if you make the playoff this year and you've got criticisms of Hugh Freeze in this program, you just need to shut up at that point. Like most people are not predicting Auburn to make the college football playoff. So if they think, if you get there, I think that's exceeding expectations at this point. There was a question for you here. Round out our time together. Where did it go? I lost it. It was from Devin. Devin's asking, do you do deep dives into anything other than O-line for yourself personally?
Sometimes I do. Some positions I know more about than others.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a lineman guy, specifically offensive, defensive. But linebacker is something I'm interested in. Basically, if you're a skill player, I don't really. I just want you to do well, but I don't dive
We're
into.
talking about skill players. The only skill that matters is the game of inches. I'm kidding.
But I'm very interested in tight ends and running backs, things like that, personnel formations.
Yeah, that's what I thought you would. When I saw that question come from Devin, I was like, I bet D-line, yes, because that's going to be just the opposite of what we've been focusing on with you. But tight ends just feels like something that would be right up your alley too, because a little bit of blocking in that as well with some skill position stuff. Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for calling in tonight. We love talking to you, and we can't wait to go to school the rest of the year.
Hey, War Eagle, y'all. Love y'all. Have a good night.
All right, man. War Eagle. All right, that was our good friend Thomas. We love hearing from him always. We want to hear from you too. I will leave the phone line open for just a minute. I always pitch it this way. This is a great opportunity if you're a little nervous about trying this for the first time. Give it a try right now. Just come in at the very end of the show here, say hello, pop in, pop out, just get used to it, get the nerves and jitters of it off. I know some of you just can't because of logistics, but you don't have to be on camera. You can be on camera. We want to I say this every year, and yes, we do it every year. I want this to be the year that the most people call into the show because we provide this for you every week and we want y'all to take advantage of it. So please do that if you can on subsequent weeks, but I'll leave it open for just another minute or two. There are a lot of comments and questions I need to work through from our call with Thomas, and I'm going to get to those. But since we're getting close to the end of our time together, I do want to make sure I give you the 411 on what's going on. Content creators always got a content, right? And tell you what they got cooking for you. All right. Most of you know the drill. We have going on the rest of this week. Hope to see you back next Wednesday night for Auburn Family Night. But the Auburn Experience episode 136 will be out this Sunday, live recording, 9 Eastern time. We'll talk with Austin, talk with me. We'll hang out, have a Q&A after. Don't miss that. 9 Eastern time, Sunday nights, 136 gets recorded this weekend. Certainly we'll be talking about that first week of practice. This weekend, there is potential, as was asked earlier, for me to go to Auburn. So that means content from there, some special content from those of you that are at that tier in the Conquer Club. If I'm there. So I'll let you know if anything changes on that front. It's probably about a 50-50, maybe leaning more towards a 60-40, a lot more 60 I go situation, but I haven't made up my mind completely yet. There's a lot of things here at E2C Central I got to get going before the season really kicks into high gear here. Other than that, main podcasts, make sure you're downloading those wherever you get them. We've got those ones that I do in the middle of the week for you to catch you up on the latest news. all that kind of stuff. So I hope that you're taking advantage of all of those different things. And great to see so many of our TikTok people heading over, hanging out here more often. I know I gave y'all a shout out earlier, but I certainly wanted to do that again. All righty here. Let's see. Let me back up and find out where we were at. Greg was talking about the key piece he didn't mention is the kicking game. If we had a field goal kicker last year, we would have won 3 more games. We had a field goal kicker. They just weren't having the most successful year. Alex McPherson back in form. That's 2 W's right there. From a video that he shared, Greg, it looks like his strength is back, which was the one thing from his words back in spring that he said he still needed to get back to. So that looks to be the case. And it looks like a lot of people agree with you on that. You remember losing to Houston. What bowl game was before that? Birmingham Bowl, then probably like the Outback Bowl. I think that was the one. No, it would have been the Music City Bowl because I think we lost. That would have been the year Harsin was watching from the stands because he had just gotten hired. So that was versus Purdue? No. Northwestern? Anyway, I can't remember who it was. All of that is just kind of running together here. Let's see here. Here's a hot take. We should add a swimming pool to JHS. Well, it's not a hot take. It's a cool take. But I guess I don't know where that one's got me a little bit torn up because I don't know what to make of that. Maybe I'm missing the context behind that one, Unbeaten Lake. Do you do these shows during basketball season? Yes. So Auburn Family Night is every Wednesday night unless we have a scheduled conflict, which we do during basketball season sometimes when they play on Wednesday nights. Usually we can't do one, but we will do post-game shows for those as well. Corey says, I guess this is about our punter. I wonder what kind of culture shock it is coming from Australia to play football in good old Alabama. Well, clearly it's not that much of a culture shock because Aaron Sippus, Oscar Chapman, and now Hudson Cack, as I'm going to say it. And I'm going to say it like that permanently just so I don't have another slip up. Tim Seawood, what's going on? We are all ready for football over here. I'll go ahead and close down that phone line while we kind of wrap up some talk here tonight. We haven't won a bowl game since the 2018. Hold on. Unbeaten Lake. This is a great point to talk about right here. And I feel like we've discussed this on some stream previously. I think we've been cursed. Do you remember what happened? I forget the late child. He was a college student, Kyle. The late college student's name, the big super fan for Purdue, who passed away of cancer and fought that battle forever and was a little celebrity for the longest time for his courageous battle with that. The last game he saw was us just shellacking his team in the Music City Bowl. And that is why we have struggled as much as we have in bowl games since then. You can't sell me otherwise. That's what's going on. I said it. It didn't need to be said, but I said it. Let's see here. Hunter says, Kyle, do you have any somewhat realistic yet hot takes that isn't common thought being portrayed on social media? It's a very long worded question. So I'm trying to figure out. I think you're asking, do I have a hot take that isn't common? I think that was the gist of what it is. Hugh Freeze shouldn't be on the hot seat. I think that's probably the hottest take that I would have that people would probably take the biggest issue with at this current time. Let's see here. Swim Up Sports Bar on top of Haley. Yeah, the Eagles Nest thing got ruined a long time ago. Where are we at here? Even though Gene had a horrendous 3-9 season, he was still 3-0 in bowl games. That is fair. That is a fair point to bring up. Did I say something else, or y'all just laughing about my other slip ups, or just what I said about the poor guy that passed away? It's been a long time. I'm confident that someone breaks the Auburn single season receiving record this year. It's only 1,088 yards. Yeah, I don't know that that's the hottest of hot takes you could have, but it's certainly something that would be historic. So maybe that's the angle you're going with that one. I haven't had too many slip ups, just a few. And this is just depressing right here. I can't even read it. Y'all do with that what you want. I can't even read it. Just can't even deal with that. That's a good way to end this show. All right, last minute questions, comments, topics, derogatory rebuttals. Do us and me a huge favor. For those of you on YouTube, go ahead and smash the like button if you haven't done it yet. I know that you've been here a long time. If you can do that for us, that is a huge help for us. It lets people know that we're live, that they should come back and check out this content. I'm going to make a couple pleas for all of you out there. So many of you that are watching our content on YouTube, please do continue to watch those videos and hit the like button there and drop a comment. I know we ask you 1,000 times as content creators to do those things, but you don't understand how important those are for the algorithm and getting us out and helping us continue to stay relevant. So if you can do those things for us, that is very, very helpful. So if you enjoy those press conferences, if you enjoy those interviews, if you enjoy our clips from our show or other videos that we make for you all, please continue to do that throughout the year too. A couple more things here. Oh no, Sam, absolutely not. No, that can't be. No, we can't have that from our students. I don't think with the number of wide receivers we have, it will be hard for one of them to break the single season record. It actually could be the opposite because there are so many viable options at wide receiver. They could spread the ball around so much that nobody gets the chance to get enough opportunities to get over that historic marker. Let's see here. What else do we got to round out the show tonight? 2017 Auburn, when healthy, was the best team in Auburn in football that year. Argue with a brick wall. Argue. I think the 2019 team was still better, but certainly you have a case there. Kyle, take out Austin Auburn shopping. He needs to come correct when y'all live stream. Are you still giving him crap because he had the audacity to not wear something Auburn to a stream? Oh, my goodness. All right, folks. Been a good night and a good show. I always enjoy hanging out with y'all on Auburn Family Night. And I seriously do mean that. I enjoy everything we do, but this is the easiest thing that I do all week in terms of content creation because you guys make it enjoyable for me. There's no really plan for this. It's really what you guys make the show all about. And thank you so much for taking part in Auburn Family Night as you do so often. All right. With that being said, check out all the content we've already got for you out from practice. More coming tomorrow with some player interviews, more segments from the show, all these different things that you can get involved with. Thank you guys for being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until I talk to you again, War Eagle.